Alright, so this is my first tutorial video ever, and I'm going to show you how to make angel eyes or halos on an image. So we open up an image. I have a pretty big image, but you can use any size you want. Doesn't really matter. I just like working with bigger images. Let's zoom in and get started. Everything you want to make in a new layer. So let's make a new layer by clicking that icon right down there and naming it. Let's name it Halo. Next thing you want to do is select the pen tool and start making the lines for the halo themselves. And now if you don't know how to use the pen tool, I really recommend learning because it's a very versatile tool. It's based on vectors and can be used in a lot of different ways. So let's get started over here. Get those outlines. Looks pretty good. Let's make those later. First let's do that. Let's name that Halo 1 just so we don't get confused. Sorry about that. Okay. And next thing we want to do is select the brush tool and select the size that we want for the halos. I'm going to go with 18 because that looks pretty good, and hardness about 45%, but 50% will be fine too. Let's go back to our pen tool, right click anywhere and say stroke path, and select, make sure you have the brush tool selected, the simulate pressure not selected, and hit OK. There we go, we made that. Now it's time to make the other one. That, and let's name that Halo 2. Halo 2 like the video game. Okay. Let's make that. And for here as well. Looks a little lopsided. That looks alright. And since it's farther, it's going to be a little smaller. So select your brush tool again, go down to maybe 16. That looks pretty good. Go back to your pen tool, right click, stroke path. Make sure it's brush, hit OK, boom. Now what we're going to do is merge those two layers because it's going to be a lot easier for us to work when we're making the glow and everything. Select both of them, right click and say merge layers. Okay, now they're merged. You can just call it Halo, but it doesn't matter. Okay, next thing we want to do is see a little bit of overlap over there. Let's get rid of that. Take your brush or your eraser tool, I'm sorry, and make sure the hardness is at 100 and erase that. It looks good. Over there a little bit. Over here. That looks fine. Alright. Now next thing we want to do is make it glow. To do that, we're gonna... There's a few ways to do that, but the easiest way is to duplicate it by clicking and dragging to that icon over there, or hitting Control J. It's the same thing. Alright, next we're gonna select a filter called Blur and Gaussian Blur. Give it the Gaussian Blur, and that's starting to make it look like it's glowing. It's pretty... Let's play around with the slider a little bit until you get your desired effect. I'm going to go with that one. That looks pretty good. Hit OK, and boom, done. That's pretty good glow over there, but I'm not happy with it, so I'm going to duplicate it a few times. Let's duplicate duplicating it once looks good. But it's a little too white for our image. It looks a little too bright. So what I'm going to do is go to my first layer, and I'm going to give it a layer style. I'm going to double click on the side until my layer style palette pulls up, and I'm going to give it a little inner glow. Now right now it's set to screen and the color is set to a light yellow, which we don't want. We want something cool like a blue. You won't be able to see it right now because your blend mode is set to screen. Move that to normal and increase the size a little bit around the choke, and let's play around with the settings a little bit until it looks satisfying. I think that looks pretty good. Let's do that, and also let's give it a little bit of outer glow as well. Let's do that. Kind of a bluish color. That looks good. Increase the size. And that looks pretty good, in my opinion. And that's your halos. You can do that yourself. You can add it on to your own images. It's pretty easy to do. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.